Nicole Malliotakis. I am the Republican conservative candidate for Congress in the 11th District, representing Staten Island and Southern Brooklyn, including this community. I am here today to talk about an issue that is plaguing our city. Under one-party rule, we are seeing the safety of New Yorkers deteriorate. We're seeing our quality of life dismantling. And we're seeing a rise in a number of disturbing crimes in safe neighborhoods, historically safe neighborhoods. Now, I want to talk to you today about how one-party rule and the policies that have been put forth over the last couple of years have led to this. It's been a culmination of policies put in place at the city level, the state level, and supported by our representatives in Washington. No one is speaking out loud enough against these policies that have plagued our streets. On July 14th, an 89-year-old Chinese American woman was attacked outside her home just a couple of blocks away from her. She was a member, a 20-year member of our Homecrest-Bensonhurst Senior Center. This elderly woman was innocently walked outside of her home, was assaulted by two individuals, slapped in the face, and she was set on fire. Thankfully, she was able to use some tactics that put that fire out immediately on her clothes, and it saved her life. But think about what kind of society we are in right now, where elderly senior citizens are being attacked. At the beginning of this year, under Mayor de Blasio's sanctuary policy, we saw an individual who had assaulted and stabbed his own father being released back onto the streets. He then proceeded to assault, rape, and murder a 92-year-old woman in Queens. We are seeing crime skyrocket across this city, and right here in the confines of the 62nd Precinct in Brooklyn South. I want to read some of these statistics. In the 62nd Precinct, where we are today and where this event took place, there have been 40% more misdemeanor and felony assaults in the past month, just in the past month, compared to last year. What happened a month ago? Well, our mayor, our city council, they voted to defund our police. Our congressman, Max Rose, marched alongside those, holding signs and chanting, defund the police. Of course, that's setting an example and an environment for perpetrators to take advantage of the situation and commit crimes. And we're seeing that being reflected in the numbers. Within the confines of NYPD's Brooklyn South Command, which we are in today, murder is up 58%. Robberies increased 25%. Car thefts are up 113%. And shootings have more than tripled in just the past month compared to the same period in 2019. Think about that. Think about what's happening in our city. And when I ran for mayor, by the way, I said that we were going to be headed to the bad old days because of the policies of Mayor de Blasio. We are here now, and it's getting worse because they keep piling on. Whether it's attempting to close Rikers and bragging about having the lowest number of prisoners because they've been released back onto our streets. Whether it be eliminating bail at the state level, where individuals like this, if they are caught, because they have not, of Homecrest, who have put together a $10,000 reward for their arrest. But if they're caught, it's quite possible they may be released right back onto the street. Not only does the entire New York City delegation representing us in Washington support closing Rikers and support eliminating bail, they also just voted a couple of weeks ago to release convicts from federal prison who are over the age of 50, even if they're murderers and rapists, because they were vulnerable to COVID. That's the reality of what's happening in our city and our country under one-party rule. And that is why we need to elect at least one Republican, one voice of reason to push back against all this anarchy and all this chaos. I want to invite members who would like to speak and say a few words about what happened here. I do, even though I won't be speaking, I do want to acknowledge Don Lee, who's the chairman of the Homecrest-Bensonhurst Neighborhood Senior Center Board of Directors. Thank you for your concern, and thank you to your fellow board members who have put together the funds, $10,000, to offer a reward, and we hope that the public will help in finding these assailants.
Thank you for supporting us. Thank you.
Wade, please come. Who would like to? Please say a few words.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. We're looking at the results of one, defunding the police, especially the 600 staff of plainclothes detectives that just come out every night, keeping our streets safe. The results are immediate. We cannot just ignore them and saying that has nothing to do with it, or because the courts are closed, or because of the pandemic. There's nothing to do with it, right? This system works, and by defunding the police, by removing these 600 members of plainclothes detectives, we are heading back to the 1980s, early 1990s. Okay? We should ask. Our elected officials and the mayor, deputy mayors to come out at night and see for themselves and who is actually running the streets, what's happening in the streets. And this is so different from the New York City that I know from even 6 months ago. Right? So this has to stop. We have to realize that the elders cannot be targeted, and Asians cannot be targeted. And unfortunately, when crimes are rampant, they look for the weakest victim. So we're here to urge everyone to be vigilant. We urge anyone, there's a reward out there for the attackers. Or you've seen them before, you have any information, please contact us. Thank you. Thank you.
You bring up a great point. Not only come out here at night, but come out here without your paid security that we, the taxpayers, pay for, and that you walk around with safely while the rest of us have to fend for ourselves. I do agree with that. The mayor should get, if he wants to defund the police, the first people he should get rid of is his security detail. Wade Chin, please come over here and see.
Thank you very much, Nicole. I think it's very important what the community has done in speaking up against the crime here. And I want to thank also Don Lee Homecrest, because no person should be walking on the street and fearful for their lives. Nobody should be fearful for their lives, especially not the elderly, and not to attack any person, Asian person. All of the people here know that crime is rising in New York, and Nicole, thank you. We should all speak up and make sure that our legislators know that we have a problem and we do not accept it. And so we must go out and make sure that when we vote in November, that We get the people who will support us for our safe streets for everyone.
I'd like to introduce Chum Dick, also community leader here in Brooklyn.
Thank you, Nicole. I just want to say that, I have been fighting against the so-called bail reform since last year, and I think the bill itself is lack of common sense, right? So now we all can see that with the pandemic and the recent tragedy of George Floyd, then the entire New York City is deteriorating. So it's like back to 20 years ago when I first came to this country. Is we cannot walk out at night, right? And then after the two mayors, Giuliani and Mayor Bloomberg, they turned the city around. But now with de Blasio, we are going back to the 80s. So this is I would say it's a very bad move. So what happened is now we just have another incident that an elderly lady was she got attacked by just two strangers, just walking on the street. I couldn't comprehend it. So I think Nicole, she's fighting for us on this issue, and and also with other elected officials, they also came out and condemned this act. So I think Nicole and all the elected officials. Thank you.
Our event. If anyone has any questions from the media? Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming, and we will continue to push the $10,000 reward that is out there to capture, and we want to ensure that those individuals are brought to justice. And we want to also ensure that the message gets to our elected officials who have been supporting all these lousy policies to knock it off. And the only way we're going to do that is by ensuring that we vote in November and vote out those individuals who have a record of supporting these policies that have made us less safe and have made our city deteriorate. Thank you.